Ending months of speculation, Vice President Joe Biden announced Wednesday that he will not enter the Democratic presidential race, leaving Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders as the only remaining challenger to Hillary Clinton to be polling in the double digits. So is the path to the nomination now clear for Clinton, or are there other obstacles ahead? Dan, so Lincoln Chafee gets out this week, so Joe Biden gets out this week, so Jim Webb gets out this week. There's going to be nobody else on stage aside from Bernie Sanders, Martin O'Malley, and Hillary Clinton if they have another debate. This is the least competitive open presidential nomination in modern history.
Paul, I've got to give you my favorite headline from the past week on this subject, which was how Bernie Sanders plans to explain democratic socialism. Serious. He's going to give a speech explaining what democratic socialism means.
And is that going to carry him over the top?
No, it means it's hopeless. It means it's probably hopeless. But look, I think there's another point here to make, though. Bernie's support among young Democrats is pretty strong, especially among young women. And I think there's a problem here for the Democratic Party. It suggests that younger Democrats are drifting away from standard liberalism towards the left and maybe even towards socialism. And I think that the regular candidates like Hillary have to be acutely aware of that. She has to appeal to that segment somehow.
She is.
Which is out of the mainstream of the American electorate.
She is running to the left of Barack Obama on all kinds of issues.
So his presence is there no matter what.
Any other obstacles, Brett, to her nomination?
Look, the most obvious obstacle is an FBI investigation of her emails. That investigation is run by ultimately by Jim Comey, but it's also ultimately run by the Justice Department.
Jim Comey being the FBI director.
The FBI director, Loretta Lynch. So I think the chances of this investigation yielding any real trouble for Mrs. Clinton are quite frankly fairly slim. Jim Comey's a very political director masquerading as a straight shooter.
But if the FBI holds Hillary Clinton to the same standard it held David Petraeus and John Deutsch and others in mishandling classified information, it seems to me that she should at least have to cop to a misdemeanor. I mean, she had the clear intent to evade the Freedom of Information Act, the Federal Records Act, and she didn't. And she knew that classified information was very likely to come across that server. That's mishandling classified information. Why wouldn't the FBI act on that?
As I said, Jim Comey is a very political director.
Wow, okay.
And this is the future, they believe, the future president of the United States. And so she's being held to an entirely different standard from General or Director Petraeus, Director Deutsch, and so on. I think it's simple politics. This is a corruption of the system.
So, Kim, does this mean that the Democratic Party now, with Hillary Clinton clearly the leading candidate, are they all going to marshal forces around her and she'll be able to march to the nomination with ease?
Dan's point is actually really important in that Bernie Sanders is not going to win this nomination, but he is going to pull her left. And one outstanding question is whether or not she can go left enough to satisfy what is a significant portion of Democrats out there who clearly are not necessarily energized or thrilled by Hillary Clinton. She's also got a tough line she's going to have to walk, and that she's got to figure out very carefully how she walks the line between embracing the Obama presidency and not upsetting those voters that still very much are fond of this president, while also suggesting that she would govern differently and she has different policies in some way to satisfy those who are a bit dissatisfied with his economy and his leadership.
To Kim's point about Obama's presidency, one interesting thing that to me came out of that Benghazi hearing was in her opening statement, in which she started talking about working towards a more bipartisan foreign policy and how we had to work with Congress, clearly trying to separate herself from Obama, who had basically gone alone on foreign policy. And I think that she was making a pitch that was showing us what she's going to be saying on the campaign trail.
I agree. I actually disagree with Kim. I think this is now an opportunity, because she's clearly going to win the nomination, barring something from the FBI, for her to tack right back to the center, because she knows that really from now on she's fighting a general election, and she's going to have to fight for more than just the Bernie Sanders voter. She's going to have to fight for centrist Democrats and independents. So it's an opportunity for her to do that. On the other hand, because she's once again has a coronation, she's going to be making a lot of mistakes.